Hi folks, this is my first attempt, honestly, with a commentary, voiceover, whatever. I've been asked a couple of times if I could explain how my build works with the Branx and the Kickback from people who watch my videos. So I'm glad to explain this one here. Bear with me, I got no scripts whatsoever. Just gonna try and explain the base mechanics and maybe make a follow-up video so this one here doesn't exceed the 30 minutes mark. So first of all, our combo is composed of the Branx as your main melee weapon and the Kickback as your ranged. I've gone away with the big grenade, so I can rely on stuff like this ever so often. I'm not very particularly fond of the rock, because once you master the Branx and its damage potential, you got a rock in your hand all the time, so it's a bit redundant. Now, we're gonna take a look in the spec I used, the talents and the loadout.
There are many strange minds on the surface.
If she shuts up.
We have guests.
So, right here I have my Branx with the usual percentage and the dump stat being defense. I opted for unyielding and carapace. You could go with Flag and Maniac, but they're dead so fast I don't see any benefit in it. The best blessings for me are Slaughterer and Trust, the way I play, a very aggressive play style. There are other combinations, but this is how my build works. And keep in mind, I have this build primarily for Auric Damnation history and for Auric Maelstrom. So usually I had no problems whatsoever carrying, clutching with this build. The recent Havoc changes have it so you need your Bubble Psyker, your Book Salad or whatever. It's not up to me with missing some talents compared to other characters to compensate it with mechanical skills. The Ogryn right now doesn't have anything in his arsenal, so we make the best of what we can. And another thing to keep in mind is this is for playing with random players. If you're playing with a pre-made, you got a lot of different aspects to pay attention to, and you can rely on your buddies to have your back. With randoms, ever so often, I have the problem that they don't commit to the momentum I generate, or they miss enemies and don't keep them off of you. So this build here is aimed to be the best personal performance giving, to give you the best personal performance with the tools at your hand. So, the Kickback, we have full bore, blaze away. Dump stat here is range, cause we're obviously going for the close combat, and even with the range set to 60%, you can two-shot snipers at that distance. Black and Maniac as perks, usually if a Maniac or a mutant got hit before you one-shot them. Curious, I have the Gunner's Resistance. It helped me in Havoc. Some other people criticized Gunner Resistance would be useless, but I had many encounters where the Gunner's Resistance gave me the additional 2-3 seconds to get my ass into cover, so it worked. A slight adjustment I made to my recent loadout is the other two I went for stamina regeneration. So as you see here, every Curio has the max health instead of toughness. I explain that in a second. But the problem I had in Havoc specifically was, I'll show you that right here. The Branx has a standard.
By his bluster.
Good to go? Okay. So, the Branx has a standard combo of you block your weapon, you push him away. But you can convert this into a 3-step combo. You push, you have a light attack, and depending on how long you charge, a heavy follow-up. This heavy follow-up generates additional momentum if you play with the timing of your charge. So depending on how many enemies are on you, you can have a quick combo to get out of there, and maybe you see, maybe you don't, I dodge at the end of the hitting to give some additional movement into it. And if you get a leeway, if nothing else is there, you can charge it fully through and generate more damage. The special attack on the Branx I don't use very often. It's a gimmick, you can use it to interrupt, but why would I do this if I can straight up maybe one shot even a crusher here? The one benefit the karsolas has is its special attack would pull the shield down and make the bulwark open for a vertical attack. So if I just do this, it doesn't work anyway. And the another problem is if you want to commit to another attack, it makes this side push honestly don't do anything. So it's basically lost time, and you stand there with your pants down. So why the full health? If you manage to keep this combo going in a mixed horde or whatever, and I'm gonna show the talent tree soon, you keep your toughness up anyway. There's little or not so many moments where you're out of toughness unless you really fucked up or in the wrong place anyway. So health being a finite resource, and lots of people don't have the oversight to drop a med pack when it's really needed, or you don't have the stim handy all the time. So health is the one finite resource I'd like to stock as much as possible, whereas toughness, I am the master of creating a situation to refill it. If you get yourself familiar with the Branx, you can speed up the attack pattern, so it will flow naturally eventually to get you from horde cluster to horde cluster in a pinch, and recharge your toughness that way. So, as for the talent tree, again, this is optimized for your personal output, not to help your mates, as silly as it sounds, but usually randoms, in my experience, don't cash in on the sacrifices you'd make here. So, we got Furious, we get the best defense, and this one here is for hitting multiple enemies. Your crowd is your toughness recharge station. Every time you see a crowd, basically you wanna not rush and mindlessly, but you wanna use it as a refill. I don't go for smash him up, honestly, because committing to one enemy and then depend on him to regenerate your toughness has multiple enemies, usually draining that bit of toughness you'd get, so it's not usable for mine. I go with the toughness boost. I mean, if I'm gonna refill, I might refill as much as I can get. The heavyweight, obviously, crushers, bulwarks are mostly the nuisance you gotta deal with for your team. Linchpin, why not towering presence? If I use my indomitable often, I leave the coherency, and the situations I don't leave it, I stick close to my team anyway. So Linchpin for me is the better option. Again, here another toughness boost. The frag bomb has your oh fuck button to get out of messy situations, or to have the tasty snack on a couple shotgunners or what. Soften him up, and this one here mainly to get as fast to indomitable. I don't go for bleed. I'll explain that in a second. I have the stumbling boots and the trample. So for this build, I want to deal out as much personal damage. It's the only thing I can control in the random setup. I can't say for sure if people cash in on me, for example, taunting and giving them the option to deal more damage. Most often it's not. I taunt enemies, they are fixed towards me, and my other teammates go their merry way. So all in all, I like the active role, and I like the get out of jail free card with Indomitable for if I'm in a pinch, I can relocate as fast as possible. So, with that in mind, branding on your way to better. Crunch isn't very efficient the way it works now. Maybe it will get fixed in the future, I don't know. Health boost to get our max health later on through the couriers, and hard knocks. And that's what I was criticized for briefly. Why not go for bruiser, for example? And again, this is for your personal maximum output. If you're in a pre-made, if you got pals watching out or having your back, of course you go the route to support them as best you can. But right here we got the usual random situation. Everyone, headless chicken, goes in every direction. It's up to you to clean up the mess. So, Bonebreaker's aura for us. And here we got our bleed. I found it a bit redundant to go for pulverize instead of the trample. If I can generate bleeding enemies on my own free volition, I can decide when to make a bleed or how many if I have a cluster or horde in front of me. So the one that triggers the benefits or gives me a bleed is this delight in destruction. So dominate for the rending, and we have a brief detour here. So again, toughness boost plus 15. Attention seeker. So we don't have a taunt, but we have a push. And as little area as it affects, it's still a validating taunt. And if you opt to play with a shield, you just have to block and force ranged enemies to attack you in melee. So keep in mind, if you want to switch with the Branx to a shield, it's fine either way. But Branx has a lot higher damage potential, and the shield, in my opinion, only works again if you got people doing the damage for you. This is not what this build here is made for. Another thing, payback time. You will get hit being in the thick of things. So the payback time gives me better attack damage for the 5 seconds duration, whatever it is. So why don't I go for, what was it? Get stuck in here. The main critique I earned was, why not get stuck in? So I'd give my teammates 4 seconds of a boost, and maybe they won't even realize that this is up, much less cash in on it. So why would I waste my own damage potential to boost other people that are not even aware of what I'm doing, or that in this moment I'm trying to help them? I don't see the sense in a random encounter. So right here is our path to heavy hitter. This again boosts your melee damage, and with the only thing I left out is the refresh on the light attack. So I don't see any sense in that. Most of the time we're using heavy attacks that often that we're not at risk of losing the stacks here. Combo of the kickback and the Branx, the way I use it, make for a real, can't really show it here in the Sarcanium, but make for a real fluid motion. I come from the background of Quake 3, Unreal Tournament and stuff, and to be honest, the characters, if you master the movement, had some feeling to it, that it flowed into another. So every action I do, it feels naturally, and once you master the combo, this 3-step and push, light and heavy, and again you can charge the heavy as long or up to 100% if you get the time to dish out some damage. The verticals, as you see here, usually one shot, even if the health here is measured to normal dimension. And if you're stuck with a bulwark, wait for him to make the attack pattern. That's the only downside with the Branx, because again I can stop him all I won't do much. I can move around if he's fixated on another teammate, but the way to deal with bulwarks is to be patient, wait for him to make his attack pattern, and then bring in your one vertical swing with a follow-up, and usually that's enough. I can't really show it here in the Psychanium, but I made it a habit to, between light and a heavy, to make a sideward dodge. As you can see, I got my UI turned off to the least amount of information that I need. So again, after a while, you feel, usually you feel, how many dodges you got left, and even if you end up in kind of a useless, not so useless bunny hop, it's enough to get you around the enemy, and that's what we want. We want a fluid motion all the time, we want to stay in motion, and we want to avoid damage, of course, but we want to keep on our enemies. And remember, our loadout only works if we refill toughness constantly. So you want to smack as much as possible, you want to be the active roller. That's where this loadout, where this talent tree really shines. If you enjoy an aggressive playstyle, you can cash in on a lot of benefits. Usually I come out on top. I mean, yeah, people got different opinions on scoreboards and whatnot, but if I kill the most enemies, if I deal the most damage, additionally deal the most damage to bosses, and get stuff like allspikes, etc. done, it's not only the cycle chasing, etc. It's keeping pressure off my mates, it gets the enemy killed quickly again, and it helps me shape the engagement. Not merely react to it with one exception, the Bulwark. That's the only opponent you have to wait for him to open his shield. But all the other enemies are up for your pattern, for your attack pattern, speed, whatever. You decide when to attack, what to attack, and usually get it that quickly. The kickback is, or rather feels like an extension to the Branx after a while. Both are slow weapons. I disliked the kickback for the longest time. First loadout was the Bull Butcher Knife and Ripper Gun. But with the Branx having this one-shot potential, I usually don't need much in terms of ranged damage-dealing weapon, but for example, the pesky sniper a few hundred yards away needs, not this one here, but would need 2 shots max across the map, even the end part of Consignment Yard, for example. So, as silly as it is, the one-shot shotgun is your sniping option to get those dead at almost any range. Again, why the kickback and not, let's say, the Ripper Gun, and this one has the shot, but a can opener. For the longest time, can opener was the go-to with the Ripper Gun. Right now, this pick in hand, what's left there to can open? I mean, I can almost one-shot crushers. Why would I waste the time to stab him with the ranged weapon and then switch maybe for a separate weapon? There are many different loaders, many things that works, and maybe you can say this is a silly loadout, I clear Havoc with whatever. Of course it works for you. I mean, this isn't the tutorial or explanation video for you. You clean Havoc. What can I give you in your arsenal that you don't already know? But for people wanting an advice on Ogryn, which recently got the shaft, and want to improve their playstyle, or maybe want to understand, since I don't speak or comment in my videos, how I make the stuff work for me, and maybe they want to try out some things about that. This is the way I do it, this is the way it works. I mean, I've got a few videos uploaded right now where I clutch, sometimes carry, or vice versa, and it just works. So you have, for example, with the kickback, again, this is unscripted, I just try to think of stuff to explain here in the first video. Can have a melee attack with the kickback, but again, if you master the pattern here, and you can add in some dodges, you can add in some dodge slides, and yes, I get dodge on jump, noob trap or whatever, but it works for me to maneuver while hitting multiple enemies and not make the mistake of just head-on approach, get circled by enemies that hit my back and get stuck. For the moments that will happen when you get stuck, you got your Indomitable. And before I forgot this, again, let me get you right here. Another critique point was why no cooldown reduction. In a pre-made, it's no-brainer, of course. Maybe you go for the taunt and you want to taunt as often as possible. Or if you get a team with voice and you want to coordinate the momentum or charge, of course you go for the cooldown reduction. But even as I speak, I got almost, again, full Indomitable charge. And it's both. It's a get out of jail free card. You fucked up, you want to get anywhere else as soon as possible, there you go. Or you can integrate it into an oncoming horde, stack your damage, and again, this build is made for if you want to do something, or if you want to get something done right, you do it yourself. You got pals, friends, whatever, you don't need that, but this one is a random setup. You count on your teammates to not do the most effective stuff. And therefore you have your damage potential with the Indomitable. So, I'll wrap this up right here. Again, absolutely unscripted first commentary video ever. Silly as I sounded, I hoped I helped out a bit. If you get any questions, of course, ask them with a commentary. I'll check them daily, basically. And yeah, see you in the next videos. Bye bye.